Showtime! The capital G show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So today, after a very long wait, I am here to continue with the story of the Duel Terminal world and pick up where we left off, when the legendary dragon HERCULES rampage caused a freeze the world had never seen, leading to many of the tribes to be completely wiped out. This will be a story of heroism, sacrifice, and of two very special souls whose courageous actions would save this world. Let us go ahead and begin. We enter the world of the Duel Terminal, many years after it faced HERCULES' wrath, a place much like our own planet Earth, but one that is inhabited completely by duel monsters. There lives many tribes who are constantly at war with one another, and this story will primarily focus on 4 of them. First are the Gem Knights, knights made of earth itself. These proud warriors are empowered by their magical gems, and they value chivalry above all else. They despise meaningless bloodshed and conflict, but with recent attacks from the LAVALs, they've seen their numbers dwindled, and they finally decided to stand up and defend their friends and allies. Next are the LAVALs, who reside in the LAVAL zone, where the vast, blazing woodlands grow. The LAVALs are absolutely obsessed with war, and their people love to fight, for nothing more than the sake of fighting itself. To this end, they have become known for starting conflicts with the Gem Knights, and are currently marching towards them in hope of receiving another glorious battle. Then you have the GISHKI, spiritual successors to the Ice Barriers who share their power. They are an impetuous group who use the AQUAMIRROR to conduct ancient, wicked rituals. A few of these current members, including Ariel, AVANCE, Noelia, and her daughter Amelia, were survivors of HERCULES' rampage. For you see, in the last great Duel Terminal war, Noelia, the current leader of the GISHKI tribe, was part of the Ice Barriers, and with the aid of her childhood friend GISHKI Natalia, they tried to summon and control a powerful ancient demon race known as the STEELSWARMs to fight the menacing fabled for the survival of their tribe. Unfortunately, they couldn't hope to contain these terrifying demons, and these events would ultimately lead to Natalia's death and a horrific future for Noelia. Before Natalia's last breath, she cried out to her friend, promise me, Noelia, promise you'll love and look after my son Avance as if he was your own." The GISHKI are seeking the vast resources of the Mist Valley marshes to power their rituals, and they have begun invading that land. Last but not least is the GUSTOR tribe, a clan who lives using the wind. They live in the fertile swamplands of the Mist Valley, and due to repeated invasions from foreign foes, they've created deep and long-lasting pacts with the creatures who dwell there also. Together for survival, each side has stood arm in arm to protect the land that they call home for generations. We now move to our first conflict. As the LAVALs commence their attack on the Gem Knights, the Knights decide to take up arms and defend themselves. And amongst the struggle, soaring from the heavens come the legendary VYLONs. Living in the heavens, the VYLONs are the equivalent to the divine to those who live on this planet. While they are normally watchers, following the events on the surface, they finally begin to intervene as they could no longer watch the increasingly brutal conflicts go on. But just as they arrive, so does a new evil. The invasion of GISHKI starts an inevitable battle with the GUSTOR tribe that has dire consequences for both parties. The bloodshed of this battle had broken the steel of the STEELSWARM, who appeared before them, ravaging everything in sight. These new challengers were demons that had been cast and locked away in the abyss when they lost their battle over rulership of the planet with the VYLONs in ancient times. With the seal now broken due to conflicts on the surface of the world, they begin to march all over the planet in an attempt to regain their former power. Pushed back, outclassed, and with very little options, the 4 clans decide to temporarily set aside their differences and unite against the STEELSWARM threat. With aid from the VYLONs, the tribes see their powers taken to new heights. The raging battle continues, and it looks to be going well for the tribes when the STEELSWARM leader approaches. HERCULES joins the fray. Shockwaves back with anger destroy everything around him as HERCULES consumes all who cower before him. But all is not lost. As hope dwindles, the VYLON Omega descends from the clouds as if it was a heavenly angel. Bathed in the light released by VYLON Omega, the STEELSWARM dissipate into tiny particles, becoming dust amongst the battlefield. An epic battle between light and darkness has begun, and in the end, Omega and HERCULES destroy each other in this clash. But what should have been a day for celebration soon becomes a nightmare. All actions have consequences, and when Noelia used the dark forbidden art to the GISHKI to maximize her power given to her by the VYLONs, a dark dormant spirit began to awaken in her that she had first contracted in her encounter with HERCULES. The VYLON's hive mind was corrupted by the spirit when VYLON TETRA fused with Noelia, and after VYLON Stigma, TESSERACT, and PANCHERO came together, they gave birth to a new form and a new leader for the VYLONs, VYLON DISIGMA. In its madness, it came to the horrifying decision that there could only be one way to have true peace in the dual terminal world: extinguish all life. The four tribes once again joined forces, this time to drive off the threat of the crazed VYLONs. But to fight such a powerful enemy for the first time ever, the four tribes would have to share their full strength with each other. With the four tribes combining their forces, they managed to push back the VYLONs, but this victory would be short-lived as VYLON DISIGMA used VYLON element on himself and gained a terrifying new power. He could absorb effect monsters into himself and store their DNA pattern, thus increasing his own power. With its absolute power force, the tribes found themselves at the crossroads. Their only options: fight or face extinction. The situation looked incredibly bleak, but then the Gem-Knights devised a brilliant plan. Gem-Knight Amber and GISHKI Shellfish combined, creating a new hero, Gem-Knight Pearl. DISIGMA tried to copy its DNA in vain, as he had no effect and could not be absorbed. With his greater physical strength, Pearl destroyed DISIGMA and ended the VYLON threat once and for all. With the VYLONs gone, the tribes immediately disbanded their alliance, but peace in the world would be short-lived. Not long after the defeat of the VYLONs, the GISHKI tribe would once again seek resources of other tribes to fuel their rituals. They exploited the weakened state of the other tribes after the war, and first they would successfully enslave the LAVALs. The GISHKI combined the power of their own GISHKI chain with that of the LAVALs, which gave birth to LAVAL chain. Now that the GISHKIs had power over the LAVALs and their volcano at their disposal, they would take up arms against the Gustos once more. The GISHKI's new strength was more than a match for the fractured Gusto forces, and a massacre would ensue, as they claimed the Marsh Valley for their own. The few Gusto members who fled were saved by an intervention of the Gem-Knights. Calm, Serenity of the Gustos vowed to defend her homeland, and she combined forces with the Knights, forming the mighty Digusto Emerald. Ready for action, the Gem-Knights prepared for a counter-strike when one of the greatest calamities in the world would occur. From the remnants of the STEELSWARM, a dark fog, a virus appeared and began to encroach upon the tribes. Striking and corrupting Gem-Knight Emerald, losing control, it became the first to be corrupted and was transformed into EVILSWARM HELIOTROPE. Eliminate, eradicate, exterminate. These are the lingering thoughts of the STEELSWARM souls, yearning for a body so that they may make their dreams a reality. This evil swarming virus was a complete and utter pandemic, infesting the living and even bringing back the dead. Unwillingly being a carrier of the virus herself, GISHKI Noelia was overwhelmed by the virus's evil power. With her mind completely corrupted, Noelia became obsessed with dark rituals that would aid the STEELSWARM in their revived quest for carnage. Sadly, she even sacrificed and killed her own daughter, GISHKI Amelia, during one of these rituals in her crazed state. Losing control over her mind, Noelia became consumed by the virus and ultimately was transformed into GISHKI Cyclone. She then used the GISHKI AQUAMIRROR to revive Hercules, the fallen leader of the STEELSWARM, as an evil GISHKI, ZIELGIGAS. Under ZIELGIGAS' command, the GISHKIs attacked the other tribes, and he had Cyclone perform rituals that summoned fallen members from the previous war under the evil swarming virus's influence, including the sealed legendary dragons of the ice barriers. Brionic, revived as EVILSWARM Bahamut, Gungnir, revived as EVILSWARM Ophion, and Trishula, revived as EVILSWARM Ouroboros. Cries out for help are not just heard worldwide, but even throughout space, and that prompted a response from the Herald of the Stars themselves. The prayers of the weak reached the Constellars. These sacred knights arrived to protect the world from its probable demise. The Constellars descend to fight the spread of the EVILSWARM virus. Constellar POLLUX and his brother Castor faced GISHKI Cyclone. Castor courageously sacrificed himself, and the Constellar media relieved Noelia of the virus's control, but it moved on to its new host, EVILSWARM Castor. During the terror, GISHKI AVANCE sought out the newly freed Noelia, and together they attempted to devise a plan. AVANCE and Noelia then revived the deceased Amelia, but within mere moments, ZIELGIGAS attacked the three, and Noelia, using her recovered power, vanquished ZIELGIGAS with the magic of the ice barrier, avenging the death of her long-lost friend, Natalia, and saving AVANCE and Amelia in the process. The battle elsewhere continued, and being outnumbered, the Constellars made the decision to combine all of their power into one great beast, Constellar M7, who engaged Ouroboros in battle just above the shrine of the Mist Valley. Noelia soon contacted the Constellars. Because she was the wielder of the AQUAMIRROR, she knew a way to seal the EVILSWARM dragons back into it. She gave the AQUAMIRROR to Constellar RASALHAGUE so that he might attempt to end this nightmare once and for all. But as one lone girl, Wenda, priestess of the Gusto, prayed on the steps of the shrine for a miracle, She unknowingly summoned an ancient deity. Sophia, goddess of rebirth, appeared. Now being awoken, she looked toward the tribes and proclaimed, "Fear not, my children. You may be at rest. Let your suffering end, for I shall bring a new world. But to do that, I must end yours." It was at this point, in a desperate attempt to save the world from Sophia, CONSTELLAR RASALHAGUE would work together with one of the few remaining members of the Gem Knights. RASALHAGUE would use the AQUAMIRROR to reverse the summoning of the EVILSWARM dragons and use their combined power to transform into the new EVILSWARM Kyrkion. A knight with the incredible power of the virus, but free from its corruption completely. Believing that Kyrkion's strength alone would not be enough to stop Sophia, Gem Knight Lazuli combined her powers with 12 other Constellars, becoming Constellar Sombre. Using the full force of their new powers, together they destroyed Sophia and ended her cycle of rebirth and destruction, bringing tears of joy to the surviving members of the tribes. Having brought peace back to the Duel Terminal world, Sombre and Kyrkion collectively decided to leave because they felt their powers were too great and unknown, but they promised to always look after their friends, even from planets away, thus bringing the end to our story. So there you guys have it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the Duel Terminal Storyline 2, the Second Great War. Fascinating stuff, in my opinion. Probably deserves an anime, but what do I know? And if you guys enjoyed the video, please do me a favor and give it a big thumbs up. Put a lot of work and a lot of effort into this video, especially the research and just piecing together all the events. And I just kind of like being able to have everything from DT2 put into one video. So for people who don't really understand the storylines, they can just watch this and kind of catch up and think, oh wow, I didn't know that all this stuff actually happened. And I know that I'm probably going to get people that are asking, Cap, will you do the Duel Terminal Storyline 3? And yes, now that it has been officially and fully given to us, eventually, I'm just gonna, say eventually I will get around to doing the Duel Terminal Part 3 and the Third Great War, which it was actually pretty fascinating as well. But anyways, thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you have not already.
Subscribing makes life happy.